All right, hey everybody, this will be warning to all politicians. I'm running for president 2024, part 134B, we'll call it. So a couple things I wanted to finish up with that last one. I kind of got sidetracked on some stuff. So, in reference about the path to peace, the word Islam means peace, and it's the path to peace. Everyone knows Jesus as the Prince of Peace. Excuse me. In the Bible, there are references, live in peace with all men as much as you are able. There are verses about, there being violence at the head of every street. And God sending messengers there to admonish those people to give up their ways or face the destruction. There are also tales of that in the Quran. You also see in the Bible where he says they speak to him peace, peace with their lips, but their ways are far from him. So clearly, the path that is meant for all religions is to be a path of peace and unity between mankind. And that unity doesn't mean homogenized and that we all have to be the same and dictated over by, like a Hitler figure or a communist system or what have you. We can all still keep our cultures, our individuality. Just need to treat each other better and see each other as we're all creatures of God. So I wanted to clear that up. Also, speaking about the division here in America, like I said, you have all these groups who are unashamed to say, what are you going to do for us? And they vote in those blocks. And you can even see it now. If an African American becomes successful and is Republican, this or that, they're often called all kinds of derogatory stuff by other African Americans. And then here you see Joe Biden saying, if you didn't vote for him, that you're not black. Now, I've never thought about voting along color lines. Never. I've never seen any white politician suggest I should vote along color lines and vote for him or her because they are white. I've never seen anybody suggest that I should vote for somebody because they are white. But I see all the time black politicians running on the fact that they are black. And that these political groups within the African American community insist that if you're black, you have to support the black candidate. And many African Americans are waking up to, no, I don't have to support that candidate. I can pick whoever I think is going to do the best for everybody or for the country. Now, me personally, that's what I look at in account. Who's going to do the smartest things for the whole country? That you shouldn't have to pander to one group or another. I'm going to make things better for you. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's my economic policy. Here's my foreign policy. Here's my education policy. Here's X, Y, and Z. This is what I'm going to do. And the color factor should never come into any of that. These are just policies, plans, what have you. But it seems anymore, and it's getting more and more, and I think it's part of the strategy on the left and of this maybe nefarious world system that they want to install, supposedly with a socialist quasi-stakeholder capitalism, etc. Whatever it is they're trying to do. with their so-called, what they call global economy, free market economy, etc. Is they want to bring more people in, quote unquote minorities, people of color and other, because they will stick and be told to stick into those blocks, those color blocks, and they will follow whatever candidates are put out there of their own people who say they're doing for the downtrodden all the time, and that anyone who objects to what they're doing is racist and evil, and we'll call you Nazis, this and that. Will demean. They'll come to this country and demean the founding fathers, everything that this nation was built on, the Constitution, everything. They'll demean all that. So the whole purpose is to weaken this nation from within, is my belief. Now, there's a lot of people who want to come here because they just want to be American, and they're not falling into that. But then there are a lot of people that they want to bring in. They not only want to use them as cheap labor, they're easy to manipulate because they can get them to vote by block, by color, instead of reason and issue. They can get them to vote by color for candidates of color who will stand for all these laws and everything that will strip America of its independence. And the best way for them to do that is by attacking the family and the private individual and making this nation weak, making the individual weak, and maybe even making them so weak till they get to the point there's nothing left to fight for, to make you give up. So free and fair trade would be, trading on an equal basis. We sell our goods overseas, people can sell their goods here. The only thing is, nations like Mexico and other nations have such cheap labor forces and stuff. The goods that are made there, and they'll tell you, hey, you benefit from it here in America. You get cheap goods. Those cheap goods are putting business and getting rid of jobs here, though. It's making us weaker. Do you understand that? If farmers here can't compete with crops coming into the country half price, what are they going to do? So you need politicians who will stand up and say, no, this nation has an unfair advantage. They're dumping cheap goods here. They're causing our people to lose their asses. This is not free and fair trade. But you have these other people on the left and say, oh yeah, that's free and fair trade. And I think it's all to make this nation weaker from within, to do away with the fabric of the society of private individuals, private business and investment, and the family unit, and to bring people in to the country who don't have any love of the country, who don't want America to be proud of its heritage or to have a heritage, who don't see have any patriotism at all towards the founding fathers and the founding of this country or the revolution. They've been indoctrinated with America's unfair, America's the XYZ and this and that and everything, and they come here and then they work against this country from within this country. And we need, no matter what color they are, we need strong leaders in this nation to say there's a point you can speak your mind, but a lot of these people will be dictators if allowed to be. They will abuse their power. So I say bravo when you see these sheriff's departments and stuff saying we're not going to enforce that, this or that or whatever. That's not a law. That's a politician trying to order, people around like a dictator. But we need more politicians who will stand up in both parties, say, that ain't how our system works. You don't get to dictate. You don't get to come in here and just because you're supported by a block of your people and made it into getting a House seat or even a Senate seat, to then turn around and badmouth the entire nation and the history of the nation, and to work and to seek to pass laws that will punish hardworking, honest Americans, and that will give the nation away to special interests and to to foreign nations, to give foreign nations unfair advantages, to call, like they called President Trump a racist and a xenophobe and all this because, the quote-unquote Muslim ban, it's not a Muslim ban. Plenty of Muslim countries and people from other Muslim countries are still coming in the country. It was just certain countries who had poor security concerns that had ties to terrorists or supporting terrorists. But the media won't tell you, no, he did that because he's racist, he hates Muslims. What did he run on? What did he... Remember, they won't show it no more or anything, and so the people can put two together and say, oh, that's right, I remember that. Did he or did he not blame George Bush for 9/11? Did he or did he not say that he would protect this nation from future attacks, etc., etc.? So if he had done nothing when he got in office, knowing that these nations supported terrorists and this and that, and said, yeah, just let them come in, and then there was an attack, you'd have been all over him for that. What a failure, he blamed all these other people. Look at what he allowed to happen on his watch, etc., etc., etc. There are too many people in this country who don't pay attention. Your attention span is so short. You have such... you don't try and be independent about nothing. So anytime, even if you hear a glimpse of truth or something about a policy or an issue or something like that, you're busy going to do something else. You ain't got time for that shit. But the cultural mantra that, everyone speaks and everything, yeah, man, you're down with that. Even though it might be totally wrong. Because you're not going to take the time to look into what's true and what isn't true. You're just going to go by the talking heads or popular speak or, rap artists or athletes or whoever, Hollywood people, whoever you hear some garbage from, that's what you're not even going to bother to look into things for yourself. Man, I ain't got time for this shit. Everybody knows this is what's going down. Well, you don't know because you've never looked at anything. You've never given anybody with any kind of other reasoning or information the time of day to where you can make up your mind on your own. So anyhow, I wanted to point that out, that you know, when people talk about globalists and this and that, there are a lot of things being done in the name of globalism and unity and free fair trade and all this other stuff and everything, and at the same time they're using those things to destroy whether you want to look at farming or industry or whatever, and jobs and families in this country, and they do it unabashedly. And it's not like, you know, a lot of these countries, even though our jobs are being taken, or and you know, you're getting cheap goods here and everything, doesn't mean the people, you know, in those other countries are doing good. Their political elite are doing good. Their elitists are doing good. You know, a lot of those goods you get from China are made in prison. Mexico has no minimum wage. You know, a lot of the other Asian nations and stuff, and you know, so they got this mentality that it's okay for you to lose because they're helping people around the world. That ain't what's going on either, anyway. You know, and even if it was, it would not be all right for them to destroy you, an American business and families, to prop up these other nations' economies. Those nations need to make changes themselves. You want to deal on a one-to-one basis with balanced scales and everything? Then you have to have those nations take on all the same regulations and wage laws and everything else that we have here. You understand that? Because it's unfair to ask Americans to compete with nations who have no wage laws, who have no benefits for their people whatsoever, who, you know, no labor laws, no nothing, who don't even pay their people for working in this global economy, who treat them like peasants, and the money all goes to the government, and they're elitist. You know, so you want free and fair? We're all for it. Because if you want to sell your product here, if it's a good product, etc., what have you, and it's all done on a playing field, and people buy more of your product than somebody's product here, hey, that's fair. But if you have an unfair advantage where you don't pay your people, you don't give them any kind of benefits, you don't have to pay the taxes or jump through all the regulation bullshit, and you can pollute left and right and your nation, and then dump your cheap goods here and put Americans out of work, that's not fair. But you have these people on the left, especially the ones who want to destroy this country, will push for that because they know it destroys this country. They come here, they vote in blocks, they stick together, you know, by color or nationality, and that's how they, you know, are going to manipulate those people so that they can keep being voted in, and they can just keep decrying evil America, and we're for all helping these people, and that's why we're going to make it harder for America, and we're going to take away from you people, and we're going to, you know, save the rest of the world. Well, they're not doing any of that, and, you know, saving nobody. They are trying to destroy the fabric of this nation from within. I am all for equality, love my neighbor. We're all cousins, descendants of Adam and Eve. But you're not going to come here and bash me over the head and take away everything I've worked for in the name of some kind of global fairness that isn't even close to approaching fairness, because you're not lifting up anybody around the world. You are making all these, UN agencies and all these elitists and all these people employed through all this stuff, all these research people. You're making all of them rich. And you're making all the governments in these corrupt countries who don't give a damn about their people rich. You're not uplifting the people anywhere. You want to blame America for those people's conditions instead of the governments that rule over them. You want to blame American heritage and American people who built this country, who struggled through 2 world wars, struggled through the Cold War. Is America perfect? No. Have we done wrong? Yes. But so is every other nation on the face of this earth, and you're not going to tear us down and make us to be, your whipping boy. So that you can exalt yourselves into political power and push through something that is totally opposite of the heritage of this country. We have a right to our heritage and our culture, to our stories of the Pilgrims and the Mayflower, to the Revolution, Thanksgiving, the valor of the men who fought in the Civil War, the valor of the men who stood up during both world wars, men and women, I'm sorry. You're talking about peace and now you're talking about war. Even in the Quran it says that God needs to allow to raise up people sometimes to fight evil, or else the whole world would become corrupt. Hitler had to be stopped. So yes, they were very valiant men and women all around the world who rose up to fight Hitler. And like I said, one of the things he used was the victimization thing. And you see that played out all the time with quote-unquote minorities in this country. You're a victim, you're a victim, you're a victim, you're a victim. Hitler told the German people all the time, you're a victim, you're a victim, we're going to rise up, we're going to... And you see that now in America. And you all need to quit that and just going back to be, hey, we're Americans. And if you're African American or Mexican American, whatever, don't be afraid to embrace the revolution and the founding fathers of this country and be patriotic towards this country just because you're told you can't because of the color of your skin by your own people. Don't be afraid to have your own beliefs because somebody like Joe Biden's going to stand up and say, well, you ain't black then. All right. I think that's pretty much it. Wish you all the best out there. God bless. And we'll see you on the next one. Adios.